Ambassador Vexthal clicked his mandibles in disdain as he reviewed the intelligence report on his holographic display. The primitive world designated as Earth had somehow managed to destroy 3 hegemony dreadnoughts in the Proxima sector. Impossible, surely. These humans barely possessed rudimentary faster-than-light travel, and their energy weapons were laughably inefficient compared to hegemony plasma technology. Admiral Korth, Vexthal's synthetic voice crackled through the command deck of the flagship Eternal Dominion. Explain to me how a backwater species that only achieved interstellar flight 50 cycles ago managed to eliminate our advanced warships. Admiral Korth, a towering Zephyrian with crystalline skin that pulsed with nervous energy, shifted uncomfortably. Ambassador, the reports are unusual. The human vessels didn't use energy weapons at all. They employed some form of kinetic projectiles at relativistic speeds. Kinetic projectiles? Vexthal's laugh was a harsh buzzing sound. You mean they're still throwing rocks at each other? How charmingly primitive. What neither of them understood was that humanity had spent millennia perfecting the art of violence, while other species had moved beyond physical projectiles in favor of elegant energy weapons. Humans had taken their most ancient tools of war and scaled them up to terrifying proportions. Captain Sarah Chen stood on the bridge of the human destroyer, indomitable, watching the hegemony fleet approach through the viewport. Her ship was one of 12 in the hastily assembled Earth Defense Force, each one bristling with weapons that would have seemed absurd to any other spacefaring civilization. "Ma'am," Lieutenant Rodriguez called from the weapons station, "we have firing solutions on the lead ships. Rail cannons are charged and ready." Sarah nodded grimly. The rail cannons were humanity's answer to the energy weapons that dominated galactic warfare. While other species had perfected plasma and particle beams, humans had taken electromagnetic acceleration to its logical extreme. The tungsten slugs fired by their ships moved at 30% of light speed, carrying kinetic energy that dwarfed anything their enemies expected. "All ships, this is Admiral Morrison on the Defiant," crackled through the comm. "Remember, they think we're primitives. Let's show them what human ingenuity looks like when we've had 10,000 years to perfect killing things." The hegemony fleet, confident in their technological superiority, advanced in perfect formation. Their shields shimmered with energy, designed to deflect plasma bolts and particle beams. They had no defense against solid matter traveling at relativistic speeds. "Fire," Sarah commanded. 12 human ships opened fire simultaneously. The rail cannons, invisible to the naked eye, sent their deadly cargo across the void. The tungsten slugs, each one precisely calculated and aimed, struck the hegemony vessels with devastating effect. The first slug punched through the energy shields of Admiral Korth's flagship as if they weren't there. The shields had been designed to deflect energy, not solid matter moving at 90,000 kilometers per second. The projectile tore through the crystalline hull, the kinetic energy converting to heat and shrapnel that gutted the massive vessel from bow to stern. Across the hegemony formation, similar scenes played out. Energy shields that had protected their ships for centuries were useless against humanity's most primitive weapon, a rock thrown very, very hard. "Impossible!" Vexthal shrieked as his ship's hull began to buckle around him. "They're using kinetic weapons. Solid projectiles. How can they be so accurate at this range?" What the ambassador didn't understand was that humans had been calculating ballistic trajectories since they first picked up stones. They had refined their targeting systems through countless wars, perfecting the art of putting projectiles exactly where they needed to go. Their computers didn't need to track energy dispersal or plasma cooling, just mass, velocity, and the ancient laws of physics that governed the universe. Captain Chen watched as the hegemony flagship broke apart, its crystalline hull shattering like glass. "Reload and prepare for second volley," she ordered. "Target the survivors." But there were precious few survivors. The hegemony fleet, designed to fight energy-based warfare, was woefully unprepared for humanity's approach to combat. Their elegant ships, built for speed and energy efficiency, couldn't withstand the crude but effective violence of accelerated metal. In the aftermath, as debris from the hegemony fleet drifted through space, the human ships held their position. They had expended less than 10% of their ammunition, and their reactors still hummed with power. Admiral Morrison's voice came over the comm again, this time addressing the few damaged hegemony vessels that were attempting to limp away. "This is Admiral Morrison of the Earth Defense Force. Your fleet has been neutralized. Return to your territory and inform your leadership that Earth is not interested in joining your hegemony. Any future incursions will be met with the same response." Ambassador Vexethal, trapped in the twisted wreckage of his ship's command center, transmitted a final message before his life support failed. "Command, the humans, they don't fight like civilized beings. They're barbarians who've weaponized the very building blocks of matter itself. Recommend immediate quarantine of their system." The message never reached Hegemony Command. The human railguns had been thorough. Word spread quickly through the galaxy. The primitive humans from the backwater world called Earth had single-handedly destroyed an entire hegemony fleet, using weapons that most civilizations had abandoned millennia ago. But they had perfected those weapons, refined them, and scaled them up to cosmic proportions. The Galactic Council convened an emergency session. The hegemony's expansion had been halted by a species that threw metal slugs with electromagnetic force. It was simultaneously the most primitive and most terrifying display of military might they had ever witnessed. Captain Sarah Chen received her promotion to Admiral 3 months later. As she stood in her new office on Luna Station, looking out at the construction yards where humanity was building more rail cannon destroyers, she reflected on the irony of their situation. The galaxy had dismissed them as primitives. They were right, in a way. Humans were primitive. They solved problems by hitting them with things, usually very hard and very fast. But sometimes the old ways were the best ways. After all, the laws of physics didn't care how advanced your energy shields were. Momentum was momentum, and mass was mass. And when the two came together at 30% of light speed, even the most sophisticated technology in the galaxy couldn't stand against it. The stars themselves would learn to respect the species that had never forgotten how to throw rocks.